I'm kind of stuck here. This might be a good campground. The cops won't bother me. Just took my first crash here. Seems like a lot of people that get DL650s like the ability of riding off-road. So I think they need to make the DL650, or at least the version of the DL650, something a little bit more off-road, kind of like the Triumph Tiger Explorer. They have a couple of versions to pick from. It needs a little bit more suspension, more travel. Also, it needs more protection underneath where the motor is, like a bash plate, because there's no protection whatsoever, especially in the oil cooler. There's no protection for the oil cooler. Being a bike with quite a bit of suspension makes it more comfortable to ride, because I live in a major city, Washington, D.C., and I don't know about your cities where you guys live, but the potholes in DC are insane. Like, they can swallow up cars. So something like a KTM Adventure, with the amount of suspension travel that it has, it's a great benefit. I love KTMs, by the way, except I cannot afford them. They're very expensive. I did think of getting a KTM Adventure, the 950, the older ones, but from what I've read is that it requires a whole lot more maintenance, and honestly I'm kind of lazy when it comes to maintenance. I really just would rather ride my motorcycle. That's why I like the dark side tire. It's like, alright, it's got to be there for 30,000 miles. I really just have to maybe change a chain. I just had this chain put on, so I put it on myself and it was fine, but now I need a new chain. I'm going to have to put the bike on the center stand and see if there's something wrong with it. See if there's any like tight kinks in the chain. I did oil it, but it's kind of just disappointing that it hasn't lasted very long. But I did find a bike that I'm not too crazy about. It's the Yamaha tenere, or tenere. It is a shaft-driven Yamaha 1200cc bike, so that is kind of like a bike I'm aiming towards. I don't think it's as good a bike as the DL650, and mainly because the DL650, and I would be buying used, of course. A used DL650 from 2005, for example, it might be $3,000. You can definitely get one for $4,000. But Yamaha tenere, the cheapest I found on it is $6,000. That is a lot of money, and one of the things that annoys me is that it has really bad fuel efficiency. I think it gets like 40 miles to the gallon, which is just an extreme terrible amount of fuel mileage. The L650 gets about the same as the Prius, of course with much better performance and fun, but you can change the ratios, the sprockets, to get even better mileage. On my cross-country trip I got about 60 something miles to the gallon consistently. The tenere has not been a popular bike at all. It's I guess a little bit too heavy. It doesn't look as good as the rest of the bikes in its class. If the Yamaha, or if the Honda Africa Twin was a shaft-driven bike, I would be more into it. I do love the Africa Twin. That is the bike that, if I could afford it, I would get it. It also got some pretty bad reviews, but it's a cool looking bike. The DL650 is one of those bikes that does everything well. I had this idiot one time who had a BMW R1200 GS, which, by the way, he barely ever rode. Tell me that he doesn't know many bikes other than his BMW that can go across a continent in such comfort and be so good. And like, I kept thinking, yeah, this guy clearly doesn't know much. because a DL650 will give you all of that and then some.